Hello, Linda here from Barlates Body Blitz, a little mini right up the front for you having a nap. We are doing a 30-minute workout today, around 5,000 steps, so slightly faster walking exercises, lots of variety. We'll be changing exercises every 40 seconds with 10 seconds in between, and I will always show you the next exercise during those 10 seconds. Now, I am going to be chatting throughout this workout, so it's a walk and talk. It's going to be all about different weight loss related topics to do with hormone balancing, to do with ketosis or the keto diet, to do with belly fat, exercise, how it relates to your body aging as we head towards menopause or even past menopause. So there's lots of different topics and there's no particular order. So I hope that it's going to be informative for you. But if you prefer to do a workout without any chatting, I have plenty on my channel, or just mute it and put on your own playlist because you'll still get a great workout just following along. So get ready, clear some space, and let's go. Okay, for the first interval, we're just going to start marching in place, setting the tone for the workout, deciding how intense you want to go. That's the beauty of the intervals. Do you really want to take it up a notch and use those arms and lift those knees, or do you just want to keep it a little bit more relaxed today? If you're just doing this workout because you wanted to listen to the chat and it's really just to get some extra steps in, then you can definitely take it at a more moderate pace. But if you're with me, pump those arms, lift those knees, tummies in, shoulders down and back, deep breaths from the get-go. So these intervals are going to go pretty quickly. Let's go side step next with little arms out to the side, bend press. But we're going to try as much as possible to keep a good pace while I'm chatting with you. A bit of a challenge for sure. And where I want to start today is, I guess, a little tiny bit of background of why I was so interested in hormone health in particular, and then just recapping a few little bits of information that I have learned from experts, listening to hundreds of podcasts and sifting through the information to try and clear the confusion of what actually works. So I'll go into a little bit of the biology for you, and we're going to swing in front with heels in front, and then I want to talk a little bit also about diet and exercise, particularly the keto style diet, and why I found that that is a better way of eating, but also the way I do it, which is different to strict keto as such. Okay, so that's the agenda for today. So starting off with, why am I so interested in hormone health? Well, if you didn't know, I went through a period of extreme hormone turmoil, and it all started because I was born with eczema, and I'm going to do a knee lift and tap. And I was given steroid creams, cortisone creams, to manage the eczema, which is a really great way of getting rid of the redness, getting rid of the itching. Does not solve any underlying issues. So I was using these just very sparingly for most of my life. But then about, well, probably 6 years ago now, I went through a marriage breakup, and that caused me a lot of stress. And so my skin flared quite a bit, and I started using the creams more heavily and not realizing that there's going to be side effects to doing that. I was prescribed up to 10 tubes of these creams at a time, and I was going through a tube, probably other side, once every, say, fortnight, whereas before a tube would last me a year or more. So the doctors did not warn me that your body actually becomes addicted to these creams, and because it mimics cortisone, the hormone that your body naturally produces, it means that your body becomes very sluggish in producing its own cortisone. So So then when you stop using the creams, or when you want to stop using the creams, your body doesn't really balance itself straight away. And so it actually sends the signal to keep using the cream by flaring your skin even more. So eventually I was using these creams and they weren't actually even working for me anymore. So my eczema became resistant and I was using more and more of them. Let's go across and pull, across and pull. So yeah, so basically, long story short, my skin kept flaring. I went to specialists and eventually realized it was to do with topical steroid withdrawal. So I read up on it and I decided that I needed to detox, and I quit cold turkey, and the following years that ensued were absolute hell. Absolute hell in every way possible. I didn't actually work for 2 years. I was a hermit. My skin was just a mess. And not to mention just my skin, but also my hormones as they were trying to, so we're going to go this way and this way. So my hormones were trying to then balance themselves, obviously, because I wasn't using this cortisone cream anymore externally. And hormones are so important to every part of your life. You just don't realize it until you've got an imbalance. It affected your sleep, or my sleep. I had insomnia. It affected my mood. It affected obviously my menstrual cycle. Every hormone is interconnected with other hormones, and when you mess with one, the other ones, like a domino effect, also get affected. So yeah, it took a long time, and because at the same time, let's just go side to side but lower, at the same time I was getting into that age group where you can start being affected by perimenopause symptoms. So I feel like this imbalance with my cortisol triggered an early perimenopause for me. So my periods became super irregular, and it got to the point where I just wasn't even having periods. And it was so hard for me to know, was it the perimenopause? Maybe I was just going into it early, or was it simply still the topical steroid withdrawal that was causing all these issues? So yeah, it was kind of a big mess, lots of puzzle pieces missing, and it took me a long time to kind of figure out, what do I need to do? So we're going to go back and back. Let's just use our arms like this in a big swinging motion. So it took me a while and a lot of research and a lot of trial and error, testing things on myself. But now I have landed on a lifestyle, I guess, and supplement regime and diet that I feel have helped me to get back into, well, not fully recovered, but into a much healthier place than I was a few years ago. And so because of this, I want to share with people the things that I have learned. And number one, most important thing is that everyone is unique. We're going to stay on one side. Knee tap, heel tap. Everyone is unique, and the things that I'm going to share worked for me, but they may not work for someone else who is maybe exactly the same age, same lifestyle, same weight, same everything. It still might not work because our DNA is different, right? So I just want to share that this is my story, and if something from this helps you, then I'm glad. So the one thing about hormones is that it definitely is one of those areas where all women will be affected. It's not one of those things where you can say, like I just said, that everyone's unique. Hormones, every woman will get to the point where your hormones start to deplete. After a certain age, biologically, we are designed to bear children up until a certain age. And then after that, your body basically doesn't need those eggs anymore, and consequently doesn't need the amount of sex hormones that you did in your youth. So once a reproductive age passes, your progesterone and estrogen in particular plummet. And this has a host of issues related to it, including decrease in bone density, increase in fat, decrease in muscle, and all of the things that can come along with an altered body composition. We're just going to swing our arms and tap to the side. So you will be more at risk for heart disease, high cholesterol, even dementia. So how do I say this? Women are 3 times more likely to have dementia over men the same age and same kind of lifestyle, which is crazy, right? So a lack of estrogen affects your brain health. And so that's why a lot of women during the perimenopause years, which can be 10 years of your life, that's huge. They have brain fog and they've got all sorts of terrible symptoms simply because their hormones have tanked. Now, a lot of people will experience, let's go out and front, just stay on one side. A lot of people have experienced, especially midlife, weight gain, particularly around the belly area. And what they used to do just doesn't work anymore. And they're just killing themselves, exercising, eating such low-calorie diets, and it's all just not working anymore. They could also be experiencing more injuries. They're experiencing wear and tear in their body. In the past, they used to be able to do really high energy workouts, and now they just can't. They also experience higher stress levels. The things that they used to be able to cope with, all of a sudden they can't cope with it anymore. And everything seems over-dramatized. And you're like, after, something happening that should have been pretty small and wasn't even a big deal, let's go side and heel, side and heel, you think to yourself, why did I overreact like that? And it's to do with your hormones, because progesterone in particular, it's a relaxing hormone. It helps you just to chill, right? And so people kind of think, oh, it's because I'm getting older and it's normal. It's not normal, okay? It is normal in the sense that many people experience it, but it's not normal in the sense that it's still a dis-ease. It's still a state of not being in optimal health, right? And if you look at it from a biological point of view, back in the day, in our hunter-gatherer days, those people did not live to 80, 90 years old, right? So we're living way longer. Let's just pull our arms to the back and do butt kicks. We're living past our ancestors' use-by date, right? And we don't want to just live, we want to thrive. So now with all of the amazing scientific evidence and scientific testing done on women, which has only kind of happened in the last 10 years or so, that tests were done specifically on women to help us with our hormone issues rather than just adapting studies done on men. Now we have the ability to make educated decisions about what to do about our hormones declining with age, right? And there are many things that you can do. There are many natural things you can do. Let's just go 2 steps across and 2 steps across. So there's obviously, I'm not going to go into details about all of this, but there's obviously things you can do in terms of lifestyle changes, the way you eat, the way you manage stress, the way you sleep, obviously exercise. There's so many things that can help you. Even getting rid of toxins, which are these estrogens that are synthetic in our environment. All of that affects us, right? So you can become hypervigilant in all those areas, which will help. But the fact is, no matter how amazing you are, no matter how strict you are with all of these other areas in your life, you will never get back to having the hormone level. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, and other side. You will never go back to having the hormone level you did as an energetic 25-year-old. Okay, let's face it. So, what are some other options? Well, there is HRT, hormone replacement therapy. And some people have heard horror stories about it, that it increases your chance of breast cancer. There were studies done, but they were actually not great. And if you look into it yourself, I'm not saying listen to me, I'm saying look into it yourself. There's plenty of evidence now refuting all of those studies. And a lot of women are starting to opt for HRT in order to balance their hormones again and just elevate their levels of particularly estrogen and progesterone, and maybe also, let's go across like this and sweep your arm, and maybe also a bit of testosterone, because we do also have testosterone. And some women are just like, no way, I don't want to look like a man. But a tiny, tiny bit of testosterone can give you your drive back. It can give you your motivation back. It can give you your libido back. All of these things that, you know, we take for granted when we're younger, that start to wane, and we justify because we think, oh, it's a different stage of our life. Oh, it's because we're getting older. Actually, we don't have to suffer this way anymore. Women can be empowered and they can live their best lives after menopause. So let's go out, in, staying on one side. So hormone replacement therapy, you can tailor it to your needs. So obviously, the first place to go is to have a blood test. See what your hormone levels are like. And even if you are postmenopausal and you have been through all the hard perimenopausal years with all those terrible symptoms, you still need estrogen. You may not need progesterone because you're not, in reproductive age, you're no longer having a menstrual cycle, but you still need estrogen for your bone health, for your muscle health, for your mental health. Okay, so don't kind of tune out thinking, oh, but she's so much younger than me, and let's go other side. Actually, let's do our arms like this. She's younger than me and I'm no longer in that stage of life. No, even if you are 70 years old, you can benefit from extra estrogen. I'm not talking about dosing up and becoming a vital 25-year-old level of estrogen again, but I'm just talking about adding that little bit more just for helping your health in general in so many areas. And what has happened with me is I have just decided to have the motto, just try it. As long as it's something that is not going to, I'm not going to get addicted to it because it's a hormone my body already makes, I can just try it for a short period of time, document what I am, discovering. Let's do it like a rocking horse, knee up and butt kick. And then if it works for me and if I notice positive benefits, then I continue. And if I don't, then I try something else. Okay, stop being so scared. Our bodies are crazy amazing at adapting and at healing themselves. So if it's something that could potentially help you so much, talk to a specialist. Talk to someone who's an expert in women's health and go onto like a really, really small dosage and just see what happens. There's even little creams you can buy that are super low dosage, and some people thrive on simply adding some cream onto their skin, getting just enough of the estradiol into their system to boost their levels. So try it, people. I only started with my HRT a month ago, rocking horse other side, and I'm using a gel, like a cream, and progesterone, and I'm doing something quite complicated because I've researched it so much, and I'm basically altering the dosage according to my cycle, but I already noticed benefits from doing it. I was starting to get hot flashes and they're completely gone. I was starting to have issues sleeping, and now I sleep like a baby even if I'm up late, and I'm fully energized, and this is only after 1 month. Okay, and I was slowly increasing the dosage. Now I'm going to be having regular blood tests. Let's go up and in to the hip. I'm going to be having regular blood tests to make sure that I'm not overdoing it, or if I need to increase a little bit. So I'm my own guinea pig, and I am going by how I feel, right? And that's the most important thing. Some people have teething issues with using HRT. They might have a few weeks or maybe months where your body is getting used to it, and you might have some small side effects. But overall, the reporting of women who suffered for years sometimes with symptoms is amazing. So if you're interested in looking into this yourself, then please let's go under and up. So clap under and up. Then just comment below, and I can send you some links of some really informative podcasts that can help you make your decision. So that's HRT. Now, going into some of the other pillars of health that can help with not only hormones, but with fat loss, especially that belly fat area. Looking at your diet, you may be thinking, I'm eating 1,200 calories or some really low amount. I'm watching everything I eat. I'm counting my macros. I'm eating enough protein. All of these things. But you're still not able to lose, other side, that belly fat. Well, that is actually something to do with hormones. Once again, it's not that you're doing anything wrong as such, but it's just that when your hormones change, you need to do things different. You cannot keep doing the same diets you did when you were in your 20s and early 30s and expect them to work. And I just also want to say, you may be in your early 30s. Guess what? The environments that we live in now, the stress levels that we have to put up with in our day-to-day life, the phytoestrogens in our environment, in the toxic plastics and other materials. We're just going to go pull down next. I stopped a little bit earlier then. You may actually be experiencing the same sort of symptoms as perimenopause way before you should be, simply because of the toxic environment and the stressful lifestyle that you lead. Okay, so don't tune out if you're young, because knowing about hormone health and getting your hormone levels checked could be helping you just as much. Maybe you are trying to get pregnant and you're not able to. Check those hormones. What is going on? Adjust your lifestyle. Maybe you need to take a little bit of a hormone supplement to help you get your levels in the right place to get pregnant. It's bioidentical as well. So there's many different types of hormone supplements. We're just going to swing and step and then just twist through the waist a bit. So make sure you're going for bioidentical, which is identical to what your body produces. There are many older ones that were more synthetic and that just don't work as well, okay? That's a side note. So yeah, young, old, no matter what age group you're at, it's something to look into. So when it comes then to diet, how can you help yourself with that belly fat in particular, or any stubborn weight loss? Well, what I have discovered is that a huge reason why that fat stores in that central area, that visceral fat, is because of something called insulin resistance. I've talked about this a lot in my walk off belly fat series. We're going to come knee, step, 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 knee. Now really pump those arms in the middle there. So in my walk off belly fat series, I talked about the fact that when you are highly stressed, your body actually increases your blood sugar levels to deal with that stress. That means insulin, the hormone that transports sugar from the blood into your muscles, into your liver, into various areas, is elevated. And when you have elevated insulin, you cannot burn fat as fuel, okay? So that's a very basic way of stating it. So if you're highly stressed, and that stress can come from many different areas, we're just going to stay on one side and bring that knee in. That stress can come from overdoing your workouts, hello. That stress can come from not sleeping enough, not letting your body recover. That stress can come from just being over dramatic all the time, watching stuff that you shouldn't be watching that constantly spikes your heart rate, getting involved in other people's business that's causing you to get angry or frustrated or whatever it is. Just not taking time out for yourself, not having that me time to just be calm, at peace, and doing things that you love. There are many reasons why we're more stressed in our day-to-day life. And if you are one of those people, you might need to consider toning down your workouts, just not doing as much. If you guys have been following me for a while, we're going to the other side, you see that I have toned down my workouts a lot. I used to do much faster pace, kind of hectic workouts, and now I focus on walking for cardio, so I don't do anything plyometric hardly, and then I focus on mat workouts, standing Pilates, rather than really killing myself and having to feel like I need to burn the maximum amount of calories in each workout, or sweat like a pig, even though pigs don't really sweat, in order to feel like I accomplished something. So I have toned things down a lot. And even though you would think that's counterintuitive if you're trying to lose fat, your body responds to you being kind to it. You need to be in a parasympathetic state in order to lose fat. In order to get yourself into that parasympathetic state, you need to consider so many areas of your life. Let's go W pools. As I said, sleep, exercise, food, hormone health, maybe supplementation, all of these things, finding a way to de-stress. Maybe it's meditation for you, maybe it's breath work, maybe it's getting out in nature. And in terms of diet, the one diet that I would recommend is low carbs, especially refined carbs, and higher protein to protect your muscle, to help you feel full, and also higher good fats, because good fats and amino acids in proteins, that's how your body, it's your body's building blocks, right? We're going to punch across. So if you want healthy muscles, if you want to have good bone density, all of these things need amino acids and good fats. And the thing is about a keto diet, it basically means switching your fuel source from glucose to ketones, and your body is efficient in using ketones as fuel, because as I have mentioned many times in the past, in hunter-gatherer times there were feasts and famines. Sometimes they caught a big animal and feasted on it for maybe a week or so, and another time they just had berries and vegetables and there wasn't much to eat. So you really need to consider that back then our bodies were adapted. Let's go in, step in and knee in. Our bodies were able to adapt to feast and to famine. And our body is actually able to make glucose out of eating protein and fats. So when you are in ketosis, which means you're using fat as fuel instead of sugar as fuel, your body can make the sugar it needs for the brain, right? And for other functions. So it's not dangerous to eat low carb. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to get so hungry, I'm not going to have any energy, but the fact is, once you go through the process of becoming what's called fat adapted, where your body finds it pretty easy to use fat as fuel, you actually get to the point where you don't feel hungry and you don't feel those cravings, other side, and you're able to think really, really clearly and have all the energy you need, because your body's actually using a constant fuel source, your body fat, to drive everyday functions. So it may seem scary at first if it's not something you're used to, but it's a process, and there's many great people who can teach you how to become fat adapted in a gradual way so it doesn't feel like being thrown in the deep end, so that you can then ease into less and less carbs and start burning your body fat as fuel. And when you do that, you are able to access that stubborn belly fat. Let's go across, across, and out, and out. And it also helps with the lower blood glucose, helps with not having so much insulin in your bloodstream, which means while you're working out, if you're in ketosis, you're predominantly using fat as fuel rather than glucose. So every time you work out, you're actually getting more bang for buck. So it's basically one of those things that, once again, I would say you need to figure out what works for you. A lot of people will say, oh, in order to be in ketosis, you have to eat X amount of carbs, X amount of protein, X amount of fat. I personally don't prescribe to that rigid kind of way of looking at it. I think everyone needs to get themselves a ketone monitor. You can also get a glucose monitor. Sometimes they come all in one. We're going to go front, front, back, back. But a ketone monitor will help to tell you how many blood ketones you have. And when you hit over 0.5, I think it's like, I don't know what the reading is, picomoles or something like that. When you go over 0.5, it means you're predominantly using fat as fuel. And then when you see that, you can measure yourself after a day of maybe having a bit more carbs, after a day of having less carbs, maybe do some intermittent fasting alongside it, and you can work out how many carbs you can eat and still stay in ketosis. Some people can eat more, some people can hardly even sniff carbs, and they're already out of ketosis. We're nearly done, guys, so let's just really march it out on this one and pump those arms and legs again. So if you're one of those lucky people, like I actually am, where you can still eat a lot of carbs and wake up the next morning and you're back in ketosis, then that's fabulous. You don't have to give up your cake. You don't have to give up your chocolate. You just might have to limit how often you eat them in your week or each day. But you might be lucky enough to be able to have your cake and eat it too and still remain in ketosis. So there's many factors, as I said, and I'm not going to go into detail about exactly what I eat or anything like that, because I want you to realize that this is all up to you. Okay, so we finished the 30-minute workout. I'm just gonna calm things down, walk a little bit more slowly, and finish off what I'm saying to you. I know it was a bit of a whirlwind of information, and there's probably enough topics here to do a walk and talk on each one more in depth. But the main thing that I want all of you to take away from today is that you can feel in optimal health at any stage of life. And if you are not, there's a reason behind it, and you can figure it out. If you have the right tests done, if you change and tweak things in your diet, in your lifestyle, and start to take notes, maybe have a calendar, a diary of how you feel when you make those changes so you can see. So you've got evidence that what you're doing is working or not working for you. You can figure it out. Do not settle. This life is too short. Do not settle for feeling less than great. Do not settle for low energy, for bad sleep, for terrible skin, for losing hair, for terrible moods where you're in depression. Not everything is connected to hormones, but a lot is. And if you check your hormones and then you do things to adjust and help yourself in that area, you could be living a much happier, healthier life. And we've got long to live nowadays, right? We're coming into the era where a lot of our body parts will be able to be exchanged, and we may live another 20, 30 years extra to our parents, to our grandparents. We want to be thriving, we want to be enjoying life, right? So I always recommend looking into it yourself. Ask me as many questions as you want. I'll send you links to things. But most importantly, don't give up on yourself. Prioritize yourself and know that you can improve any area of your health. Thank you so much for doing this workout with me. I hope it was informative and helpful in some way. And I will be back with another one very soon. Bye for now.